Locked on Bulls. On today's episode, we'll be breaking down the Bulls selecting Dalen Terry and asking, could the Bulls have moved up or down in the draft? Are we happy with the pick? How do we see Dalen Terry fitting on this team? We'll get into all that and more on today's Locked on Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls. Locked On Bulls, a member of the Locked On Podcast Network. That is Pat, the designer, host and creator of the Windy City Breeze. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central, and Chicago Sky Central. But today we're here to talk about the Chicago Bulls and their recent draft pick of one Dalen Terry. Now, Pat, me and you have talked about a lot of prospects. I covered over 28 prospects over on the Chicago Bulls Central page. And I did not cover this guy at all. And I said that was the way it was going to happen. 28 players I covered.
We literally said that.
There are 30 players who were drafted in the first round. I just happened to – come on, man. Come on. But I will say this. Me and you talked about it. We had our initial reaction video to Dalen Terry being drafted. So we're going to kind of skip that. What I will say is that the kid – I love his attitude, bro. Like, I love it. He has that almost that natural leadership type thing. And I will say this. He's going to make Summer League a must watch for a lot of Bulls fans who aren't familiar with him, me included. Yeah. And I'm going to be highly watching what Dalen Terry does in Summer League, especially considering Io's already said he is playing in Summer League as well. So we could be seeing big parts of the Bulls bench in Summer League and what they look like at that level. Hopefully they excel. They need to excel because we need to be at NBA level. But what do you think overall? Where you sit right now on the Dalen Terry thing, and how do you agree with me? Is now Dalen Terry making the Bulls Summer League a must watch this summer?
I think I would agree that he's making Summer League a must watch because you want to know what he is. But I would caution Bulls fans not to get.
Oh, EJ Liddell is going to the New Orleans Pelicans. They just drafted him.
Oh, well, there it is. Good job.
Shout out to EJ Liddell for getting drafted.
I was concerned for a little while. I was like, maybe we're wrong here. No, I'll say this about Dalen Terry, right? Like, I would caution Bulls fans to not turn him into a star in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You knew what you were getting at 18 with EJ Liddell. You knew what you were getting at 18 with Walker Kessler. I feel like we kind of know what we're getting with Dalen Terry, although a little bit more unknown, right? Because you really just didn't think that he was going to come into the NBA and have that immediate impact. But he was a guy who in college absolutely had a nose for defense, was going to be able to get after you, can find his way to the rim, can shoot the basketball. I believe he shot at 37%, 36.5%, something like that last season from the three-point line, right? He addresses shooting. He addresses defense. He addresses some rebounding help. And I think that he was also on a team where, like, he was kind of the glue of that Arizona team. But at the same time, on top of it all, he was the one that he was on a loaded team, right? So he's kind of coming into the same situation here. Don't expect more from him than what we could get. I feel like, to me, he's a player that's going to come in. He's going to give you a lot of energy, a lot of want to, like you said, the attitude. I love that he's coming out and he's tweeting Lil Durk 2 seconds after being drafted by the Chicago Bulls. Like, what are we talking about? But again, he's going to make Summer League very fun. I don't think that it's going to be an over-the-top kind of pick. Let's keep it where it should be, to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think, like, the expectations for Dalen Terry and, fans tempering those expectations is going to be important, because let the kid turn into what he's going to turn into. Yeah. What I will say is that looking at his game, he could turn into one of those Swiss Army knife type players where maybe he doesn't do any one thing great, but he gives you a little bit of everything, and that is a good player to have off the bench. Now, how quick he turns into that remains to be seen. Didn't get a lot of opportunities at his college, right? So that's a key thing. That's one thing that we may see that Eversley did. Like me and you talked about it. Most of the players that Mark Eversley and AK brought in were players that we were all looking like, well, what's happening? We thought it was going to be moving down the draft, but maybe it was really trying to find that diamond in the rough. Dalen Terry only averaged 6 points. I mean, 6 shots per game. And at those percentages, those are pretty good. Now, we need to see that maintained with the bigger volume. But what that tells me is that that's a player who figures out a way to be productive without necessarily needing to score. And that may be what gets him minutes right away, is the fact that he doesn't need to score. They don't need to run set plays for him to probably find his offense and athleticism through the gym. His athleticism, shout out to that, by the way. But as far as like how he fits on this team, that's going to remain to be seen. He's going to have to earn his time. He's going to have to earn his minutes. It seems like he's a player that, while he does have some defensive liability there, that he does give effort on defense, right? And so you can see maybe he turning into a solid defender. But really, he's more of an upside pick. And I think that's the thing that surprised me the most, is that I thought the Bulls were going to go more sure thing if they did hold on to the pick. And it seems like he brings a lot of question marks. And I don't mean that as a negative. I just mean like you don't know necessarily what he's going to be able to give you. So, where do you sit with that, Pat?
I think this is AK not because of us, right? But essentially tempering Bulls fans' expectations on the right now versus building a team that's going to be a perennial team that teams have to worry about. I do think it's going to take him a little bit of time. I think the thing that might be able to get him on the floor is if he can find a way to use that 7'2" wingspan to be a defensive body, right? Like Ayo Dosunmu got on the floor doing what? Being defense. Now, listen, this could spell the end of Kobe White in Chicago for sure, right? Like we don't know what moves are going to be made there. If he can come into the NBA and he can shoot it at a 36 to 40% clip from the three-point line, hey, I got a guy on my bench that might not be able to do that on a consistent basis. If you can do that more consistent than him, you can find some minutes on the floor. But I think that the thing with him is about AK's letting us know that when this team is great, we're going to have depth pieces that still fit that timeline. It might not be next year. It might not be 2 years from now. But I'm not going to blow this core up just yet, because I want to see what these guys are able to do moving forward. I want to see what P. Will becomes, what Lonzo is. He's 24, by the way. I feel like people keep forgetting that because of how long he's been in the league. What Zach LaVine's going to be on a big deal. How's that team going to look?
Yeah. I mean, I just, even outside the EJ Liddell thing, right? And we'll save that for this. We'll save that for the second segment. This is really supposed to just be focused on Dalen Terry. I I have some questions about his fit. I have some questions about what role he ends up playing. Is he gonna what position he plays? That's kind of my biggest thing, is what position does he work into? Because that's a completely different set of skills. When you look at him, he could very well be a tall point guard, and then at that point, that 195 isn't necessarily bad, and the length that he has can be a monster on other point guards. He could be a shooting guard, he could be off guard, he could be a wing. But how what position they envision him playing in the NBA, if they do have a one singular position for him, he may again be that Swiss Army knife where they can play him at the one, play him at the two. You remember when Wesley Matthews first came into the NBA?
Yep.
And it changed a series because they put Wesley Matthews at point guard. And I literally remember, because I used to listen to the Ben Simmons podcast all the time, and Ben Simmons was like, who knew Wesley Matthews can play point guard? And so it may be something like that, and then just let him develop over the course of time. But I just, it's not even necessarily that I wanted EJ Liddell that I'm questioning. Like, I'm just looking at Dalen Terry and looking at, okay, yes, you do have raw skill. Yes, you do have great mindset. But what is your position going to be? Now we're moving to positionless basketball, so that may not matter. But go ahead, Pat.
I was gonna say, I think Bulls fans also got to remember this, right? He's the 18th pick in the draft in the first round. You wanted to get something there. You felt like there were some pieces you can get. We don't suck next year. You know what I'm saying? There's Bulls fans that act like we just blew a lottery pick right now. Like, guys, we don't suck next year. Are there players? I will say this. I think we reached. We reached on him. I think you could have got him. Now, again, like I said in our immediate reaction, you have to have somebody that wants to dance with you if you're going to dance. But I think you could have moved the 18th pick for more picks and you still could have got him. I don't know if he'd still be on the board right now, but you could have got him around 24, 25, somewhere in there, moved back if there was somebody that wanted to move up.
For sure.
I think we reached on him, but again, like a lot of the guys that we said, Walker Kessler I think Walker Kessler went after him as well, to Memphis,
Yeah.
and then Jovic. I guess those are the two guys we're going to be watching the most closely around there if they become stars. But again, we're not hitching our wagon to this draft pick being the reason that this Bulls team is going to be successful. That's Zach LaVine's job. That's DeMar DeRozan's job right now. Nikola Vucevic, AK, Billy Donovan. That's their job. This kid is coming in and he gets the opportunity to become whatever he's going to become for this Bulls team.
Yep. And then next up, we will be talking about, should the Bulls have moved up? Should they have moved down in the draft? What other things would we have liked to see the Bulls do in this draft? But first, I got to talk to you guys about Arcade 1-Up. And it starts like boom shakalaka. We have big news. The only NBA Jam is back. Arcade 1-Up, the leader in at-home retro arcade games, is not only bringing you the best game ever back, but they've made it bigger and better than ever before. Wait for it. The Shaq Edition machine. Now, people are obsessed with NBA Jam, and I'm thrilled to tell our listeners that you can once again play hoops with NBA legends in this arcade classic. Jump clear across the court and set the ball on fire in one of the first sports games to ever feature real digitized NBA licensed teams. No fouls, no free throws, no quarters required. Compete with friends and family through our all-new Wi-Fi leaderboards, making you more connected than ever. Pre-order now from arcade1up.com. That's arcade, the number 1, up.com for an estimated early September ship date. Arcade 1-Up is the place for fun. They've got even more classics like Golden Tee, Mortal Kombat, and more, starting at just $399. That's $399, people. Check this out. They're giving away an NBA Jam Shaq Edition to a Locked On listener. Enter for a chance to win a game console for your man cave at arcade1up.com/locked on. That's arcade1up. Arcade, the number 1 up.com/locked on. You've got till July 8th to enter to win NBA Jam Shaq Edition console. Don't miss out. Enter today. Who you gonna play with? Who you gonna play with, Pat?
I mean, you ask me this every time. I'm still
Every
sticking
time.
with my same team. I'm still gonna go with. Actually, I might switch it up. Who else was fire from back then? Big old Hornets. Is there Muggsy Bogues in that?
Oh, that's a nice pick. That's a nice pick.
That's a Hornets.
Pick. That's a nice pick. But all right, next up, let's go ahead and get into it, brother. We got to talk about the Bulls, because the fans are going to be asking, right? Not our fans, the Bulls fans are going to be asking, should the Bulls have moved up? Should they have moved down? You alluded to it a little bit towards the end of the last segment. Do you think that they should have made a move? Hey, listen, you saw the Pistons be very aggressive, end up getting Jalen Duren. Now, I don't know if we could have quite matched that deal, but you see them being aggressive doing that. You see them, then Mark Williams almost slid to us. Tari Eason almost slid to us. We were right there. If that Pistons trade did not happen, we would have had either Tari Eason or Mark Williams, which would have been crazy. But do you think the Bulls ultimately should have moved up? Should they have moved down, gotten some more assets, things like that? What do you think?
If it were me, right, I probably would have tried to move up, because I feel like Tari Eason is a little bit better of an asset than Dalen Terry is, at least right now, right? Like, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, what I know about Dalen Terry is the little bit of tape that we watched on him, the little bit that, like, I don't think either of us went super deep into his game, because we were like, he'll be late. I thought he was going to be around 28, 30 at the pick. So we didn't go super deep into his tape. Maybe that's on us. We're not the draft experts. Check out Locked On Draft. But what I will say is that there's not that many people that I think the Bulls could have moved up that I think are going to be 10 times the player that Dalen Terry are, right? Like, if you're moving up, you're giving up assets and future assets, right? Like, there are players that got moved around today in the draft, Jalen Duren and guys like that, who Detroit is hitching their wagon to for the future.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's their guy that for the next 10 years, they're hoping that that's going to be their guy. I don't think that we had that guy in the draft, to me, that's going to be head and shoulders like, oh my God. So if I would have moved up, maybe it'd just be for Tari, but that's one pick, right? Like, do we feel like that one pick is going to make that big of a difference for us either way? I'm not mad at him staying in Pat.
I say Tari, yes. Tari, I think, again, Tari is the player that people look at in this draft as being the possibly generational defender in this draft. Now, Andrew in the chat asked, why not Malachi Branham? Now, again, similar player, doesn't have quite the wingspan, but he still does have quite a long wingspan. I think his wingspan is 6'10, 6'11, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But has a way higher offensive upside, at least from what he's been able to show. What do you think about going? Tari Eason is easy. I still think Tari should have would if they were both on the board and they would have took
I think
Dalen
Tari would have been a
Terry
bull. Yeah.
Tari.
Yeah.
But
That'd have been tough.
Malachi Branham, who went a couple of picks, if not the pick right after Dalen Terry. Do you think why do you think the Bulls shied away from a Malachi Branham?
They saw something we didn't, right? Like that's the only reason at this point, right? They saw something that they felt was going to put the Bulls over the top that they didn't feel you were going to get from Malachi Branham. Again, and I want people to remember this, right? Zach LaVine didn't have a great college showing. Devin Booker, I don't really remember, but I know he was coming off of the bench. That team was ridiculously loaded. But I'm pretty sure most of us wouldn't have said he would have become one of the better shooting guards in the NBA right off the rip, right? Like there's a lot of guys.
They thought Zach was going to be a point guard when he came in.
They thought Zach was going to be a point guard in the NBA. Exactly, right? Like there's a lot of guys who played in college whose college careers did not tell you what their NBA careers were. I can't speak to why Mark Eversley and AK felt that Dalen Terry was a higher pick than Malachi Branham. I can't tell you why they didn't feel they needed to move up for Tari Eason. What I can say is that they picked a lane, right? And while Bulls fans may not like that lane, they went shooter in the draft. I think we all thought they were going to go big man. Everybody was convinced we were coming out of this with a big man, ourselves included. I think the only player that we thought the Bulls were really going to go after who wasn't a big man was Ochai Agbaji, who ended up going 16 to Cleveland. I believe that was their pick.
That sounds about right.
So that was the only player that we really thought they were going to go after who was a shooting type of player. So for me, right, like I think the thing is, right, we have to adjust our minds to understanding that AK picked a lane. We may not fully agree with the player they picked, but I can't say that this kid's not going to be able to play at the NBA level because he wasn't a 10, 15, 20 point a game scorer in college. Guess what? Ayo Dosunmu was, and he fell all the way to the second round. So college does not dictate everything that you're going to be in the NBA. It just puts you in the eye of the popular guy.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always where you drafted or where you were projected to go in mocks doesn't always do anything. But okay, here's the question I want to ask you then. Do you feel the Bulls missed out on an opportunity, not a player, but an opportunity to move down and get, or do you think, hey, no, this is the guy that they locked in. This is their guy. They should have got him when they needed to get him.
Well, I do think you could have moved down, but again, right? Like I don't know who's on the other side of those calls. For me, if there's a opportunity to trade down, and we heard from Casey Johnson earlier in the day that the Bulls were interested in moving up and moving down, which by the way was the biggest sellout tweet I've ever heard in my life, right? Like the Bulls are on the phone to move up and down. Like, thanks, AK's doing his job.
Yeah.
But the thing for me is, right, you got to have somebody that wants to move up. Who's the player that somebody wants to move up? For all the players that we're clamoring for, there wasn't a lot of movement at the end of that draft.
Yeah.
All the players that were like, oh, we could have got this. We could have made this move. We could have done this. There weren't a lot of teams that were saying, oh, yeah, I want to move up to get that guy. They were like, we'll see if he falls to us. So you got to have somebody on the other side of that phone that wants to take that call as well, that wants to make that move. Yeah, I'd have moved back. I said, I thought he was a late first round pick. Early second. I thought he was going to go 25 to 30. He ended up going 18 to us. I think we reached, but you also have to have the gall to take the player that you think is going to make the biggest difference on your team. And for the Chicago Bulls, for Mark Eversley, for AK, that was Dalen Terry.
I mean, listen, I've always used this, and I said this over on Chicago Bulls Central as well. I hated when the Bulls drafted Joakim Noah. Like, literally, I saw that pick, and I was pissed off. I wanted somebody specifically in the draft. I don't remember who it was anymore. But Joakim Noah, as you know and as we've talked about, is now one of my favorite Bulls of all time. Yeah. So I've turned around on players before. At the end of the day, it all is going to be shown on the court. That's why I do say, hey, Summer League is going to be highly important watch for me. I don't know what he's going to show. But I know there are going to be a lot of fans that say, "Hey, AK missed the boat. They AK failed. AK should have made a move." We didn't see Donovan Mitchell. We didn't see Rudy Gobert. We didn't see anybody moved in this draft.
Nobody get moved.
Like, and that was the craziest part, because I really did think we are going to see a lot of willing and dealing with some of these players that are out there on the market. Didn't see any of that.
John Collins is still on the Hawks, y'all.
Yeah. That's wild. That's not to be expected. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it is this. If they saw something in him, and that we talked about it, they looked at so many prospects that we didn't even think about looking at. If they saw something in him and walked away and felt comfortable making this pick, I'm willing to give it a try. Right? I'm willing to give it a watch and see. But I tell you what, Bulls fans, Bulls fans, every season, the moment, and don't let this kid not play early in the season, and then EJ Liddell go out and get 10 to 15 minutes per game. It's going to be ugly around Bulls Nation, but it is what it is. We got to ride with our guys. Man.
Again, Bulls fans. I agree with you, but again, Bulls fans, this is the 18th pick. It's not 8.
But bro, you can't use that. Like some of the better picks are late. Just because of where you pick, that's the purpose of scouting. So I get what you're getting at with that, but I can't say, heck, Zach LaVine was the 13th pick. Yeah, that's still a lottery pick, but still, Pascal Siakam was the 27th pick. Hell, look at Ayo Dosunmu. So like, regardless of where they're picked, there's an expectation, whether right or wrong, from fans in general, that whoever you pick turns into something, and it's not going to happen every time. But that's the expectation.
I think the difference is here, right? Like, our hope right now isn't that he turns into something right away. Our hope right now is that, okay, if you went shooting here, does that mean Marko Simonovic is our big man backup of the future? Like
that's
that, I'm not coming into this season at all looking at Dalen Terry and going, why aren't you better right now? I'm looking at, is Marko gonna play? Is Ayo gonna take a step? Is Kobe White a part of this team? Like, there's so many things on the list before I even get to, hey, is Dalen Terry the right pick at 18? Because I feel like the Bulls are still gonna be a playoff team that has playoff experience, and hopefully you get Lonzo Ball back and you're able to go further in the playoffs with that.
Well,
to me, right? It's just me. I don't know. I don't be knowing what I'm talking
about. I'm 9 picks away from being able to drop my Kai Soto video, and I can't wait. I can't wait. The whole Philippines is going. They going hate me. Yes,
trash on Kai.
Absolutely. Kai and Kofi. I got videos for both of them. Matter of fact, listen. Everybody who said that Kai Soto was going to be a lottery pick, you got to eat that. You got to eat it. Everybody who said Kofi Coburn needed to be drafted by the Chicago Bulls, you gotta eat it. Well, go ahead with your ad read, bro.
Hey, I'll say this. At least Kai was the unknown, right? Like, at least Kai was like over in the NBA. Like, if you thought Kofi was going 18 overall, like, relax.
Go ahead.
Hey, you might want to hold on the video though. Watch we sign Kai in the offseason. Kofi gets signed in the offseason as undrafted. They on the Windy City Bulls. Now you got to hype these mugs up over the next 2 years. Hey, man, bet on it. By the way, we want to let you guys know about Bet Online before we get into this final segment where we want to answer you guys' questions. So make sure you guys drop some questions in the chat. Going to be like a live mailbag, man. Appreciate you guys for showing so much love. But first, we got to tell you about betonline.net. It's your number one source for all your betting and sports info. Find the latest sports development, league reviews, news, including this year's NHL playoffs and MLB baseball. It's MLB. Anyway, BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. And BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all of your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite sports and events, including MMA, boxing, and golf. Head to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, it's where the game starts.
All right, there you go. So let's go ahead and get into the live mailbag. We're going to go into your questions in the live chat. So I know you guys have been typing away, but this time for you guys to start getting in there. In any questions that you want to go. We'll go with JDH real quick. He says, if the Bulls are working on a big trade, is Terry an Ayo replacement? Don't kill me for speculating. Come on, fam. They're not trading Ayo this season.
No, I don't think that he's a IO replacement. I think it's more of a concern, even though they did say Mark Eversley did say while working out that Lonzo's working out and he's working out with his trainers as well as Bulls trainers. I think there's more of a concern for me around when is Lonzo going to be ready? 'Cause he kind of sidestepped that question about if the season was today, could Lonzo play? But no, I don't think he's an IO replacement at all. Although, listen, IO's going to be a restricted free agent after this, or is he unrestricted? He's a second rounder. So maybe Io don't come back. You don't never know.
No, Io's coming back. No, he's still restricted. He's still going to be restricted. Io's going to be back. Yeah. All right, I'm about to go in on this one. Jesse Jackson says these dudes don't understand that the second chance points come for real. You don't understand that Kofi will give up 18,000 more points than he ever gets second chance points. Get the hell up out of here, boy.
Is he talking about Kofi Cobra?
Yeah, come on, fam. Like you gotta.
No. Hey, listen. It has nothing to do with that. Even if you're right about Kofi, he still hasn't been drafted.
Yeah.
They can go get him, even if you're right about Kofi.
Nobody's going to get Kofi.
He's not going to be drafted.
Kofi is going to be the Shaq of the European subterranean Czechoslovakian basketball league. That's what it is. Let's go ahead and move on. Come on, Io trading Io. Ain't nobody getting rid of Io. They better not. Let's see what else we got. All right, Milton says, sup fellas, so it's apparent we're going to improve through free agency. What's both of your wish lists for the Bulls?
For me, find a way to get a big man in here. I would hope that it would be Mitchell Robinson. Mark Eversley again spoke about going out and adding to your rebounding and your ability to make an impact inside via trade. The Knicks still have like 37 centers and forwards on their team. I don't really know how they're building a team over there. Yeah. I don't even know if Phibbs is a part of it at this point. So
absolutely he is. This is last season there, bro. You know, Tibbs has a shelf life as a coach,
bro. But I can't even blame him. Like, I feel like I can blame him more for Minnesota because like there was actually talent there that he just didn't get the most out of than the Knicks because like there's so many forwards. There's no guards on the team. Like they're the Bizarro Bulls. It makes no sense. Bro, so like I would say find out if you can go out and get a big man that's gonna get in there and compliment Vooch and hopefully Marko Simonovic. I don't think either one of them is gonna be dominant defenders next season. And maybe find some veteran shooting. I would say Mitchell Robinson, and maybe you can work. Maybe there still is a trade in place for one of these big men that's out there. Maybe a John Collins. I don't know at this point, right? Like I thought we were going to see mad trades tonight. The draft was kind of boring.
It wasn't boring to me because like the order of some things, like the Pistons trade happened early on. Like it was interesting from that standpoint, but I did expect a lot more big names to be moved, man. Let's get into this. This one's from Cedric Plays. He says, with the lack of big moves yet, do you still feel the Bulls is or should be all in mode this season? I think there's different for me. I'll let Pat answer. I'll let you go in a second, Pat. But
I'll leave.
I think yeah, it's my show now. So with that being said, there's different versions of going all in, right? Everybody thinks that by going all in, it means like trade the young players, trade the old players, do this, do that, do this. That's not like going all in means also going all in on your future. It means betting on the current while betting on your future. The Bulls made a move that looks like this for their future in this Dalen Terry pick. Now it's time for them to address their present in the free agency. They can do both, and AK has been very good at doing both. So I think it's going to be an all-in season until we go full rebuild. Every season is an all-in season. It just doesn't mean that that's going to result in a championship, but this front office is doing the best they can do to go all in. What do you think, Pat?
Agreed, right? Like, and there's different levels to all in. I think every season, if you're in a winning position, you want to try and go out and win an NBA championship. The Bulls are trying to do that. They're not done. This is the beginning of free agency. This is, or I should say, the offseason, right? Like this is the actual beginning of the offseason. You get the draft. Free agency is in like 7 days. That's gonna start. There's gonna be a frenzy around that. So like, I'm not worried about what we did tonight as to what's going to dictate what this team does. I think they could be all in. And here's the thing: you want to be all in while also finding the piece that's going to put you over the top. You don't want to be all in while you have an OKC lineup and you're hoping that Paolo Banchero is the savior that comes down on a chariot and takes you from having 23 wins to 45. Maybe he is, but you can't sell me on that right now.
I mean, hey, I see what you're going with that, man. I don't disagree. It's just we'll see. We'll see. Brandon L. Jet says, stick, send your contending winner. You have to hit on your draft picks. The Bulls nailed Io as a pick. You can't whiff on a first round pick. We have a long history of bust first round picks. Hey, listen, that is some of that PTSD. We've had a lot of first round picks come through that we've waited on, that we've betted on, that we've hoped we're going to turn into something. So I understand the Bulls fans don't want to do that, and maybe Dalen Terry is now catching the results of years of everything. What do you think?
Here's my question. How many workouts did any of us go to? How many dinners did we sit down at with this young man? How much game tape did you break down of this young man? How much did you watch him in college? How much did you watch how much he affected his team in college? How much did you pay attention to how much he's a teammate in college? I can guarantee that the Chicago Bulls front office did that. I agree in the past, we definitely missed on first round picks. Listen, we picked the name. We're not going down PTSD road with the names we picked over Draymond Green. Wow, we had a head coach that was saying, go get me Draymond Green. That's a whole different story. But you have to allow these kids to play to show you what they're going to be. We're calling this young man a bad player or a bust, and he ain't dribbled a ball for the Chicago Bulls yet in Summer League. We're saying that we missed on this pick already, and nobody's seen him. Let's be real. There's a reason the title of the reaction video was Who's Dalen Terry? Me and you probably broke down more film than half the people in Chicago on this kid outside of the Bulls front office. And I was like, I ain't break down that much. So, like, you got to allow these mugs to come in and play their game, and then you get to make your assessment off of it. I'm not saying he's going to be good or bad one way or the other, but I'll tell you this. If you thought that the 18th pick in the NBA draft was the piece that was going to put you over the top to make you an NBA champion in 2022, you were looking at the wrong pieces.
I mean, I know, like I said, there's absolutely some picks that could have, right? Mark Williams could have completely changed the outlook of the Bulls bench. Tari Eason, maybe not year one, but the way that I look at it is this. Those players are all off the board, so we can't hold that against the Bulls. Now, you guys want to talk about EJ Liddell. I understand bringing up EJ Liddell. I wanted the Bulls. I still am very high on EJ Liddell, and shout out to him for going to the Pelicans and being able to play next to Brandon Ingram and maybe a healthy Zion Williamson to see what they can do. But guess what? There are like 15 to 20 other, no, matter of fact, almost 30 other picks that passed on EJ Liddell. So, like, all I'm saying is this: like, while I'm taking the wait and see approach, right? Initially, I was pissed. Now I'm taking the wait and see approach. And if it ends up not working out, I will be here calling it out as a fail of a pick. But as of right now, much to Pat's point, I'm not going to say it's a bust. I'm not going to say that, the Bulls necessarily failed at this pick. It remains to be seen. And you may not even see it in year one, right? You may not see what he turns into until year two. But with that being said, like, I understand also the Bulls fans' frustrations on, listen, we're tired of waiting. But guess what? You were going to be waiting on anybody besides probably Walker Kessler. You were going to be waiting on.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. This is what I'll say, right? I've done 4 of the last 5 NBA drafts. I didn't do last year's because of my daughter being born. The same people that were in my chat saying that P. Will was one of the worst picks in the world, and why would we pick this kid?
That's to this point.
AK makes no. Yeah. The second that they saw him show a little bit in a Bulls jersey, now we can never move P. Will off of this team. He's 20. You have to let him develop.
There have been a lot of players that haven't made quote unquote impacts in college that end up being quite good of players in the NBA. And so it really just, you never know how people are going to develop. You never know what the team's going to get out of them. So this thing of he didn't make an impact in college, how is he going to make an impact in the NBA? There's quite a bit of examples of players who didn't do that. Zach LaVine is a player who didn't really make a big impact in college at all. Hell, he was stuck behind a UCLA team that was completely stacked. So like you can't really say that. Now I get the pessimism, right? I completely understand that, but we can't really make that decision yet until we see him.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot that goes into a kid figuring out what's going to happen to him at the next level. A big part of it is him growing into his body, filling out. He's 195 right now. Say he gets to 210, 215.
Yeah.
210, 215 right now is Patrick Williams.
Yeah.
The player that we love and adore. And I love P. Will too. I want to see him develop. But like we have to understand that, like, go look at P. Will's stats. P. Will didn't make an impact in college. Because he was on a team that ran a system that literally said, hey, if every single one of you guys can give me 8 to 10 points, we can win. And guess what they do?
That's what
every
they did.
Single one of them guys gives you 8 to 10 points and 4 rebounds. And they finished that game beating you, doggone 97 to 80 with like out rebounding you by 15. So it's not a draft night is always a fun night for me when I'm live, because y'all don't realize, like, I remember all the names in here. And so I be cracking up when like a year from now, it's just like, bro, you can't move him. He's projecting to be a crazy level player. Yeah, I love that, bro. That's my favorite part of draft.
Oh man, listen, I'm telling you, bro, all it's gonna take, let Dalen Terry have a fire summer league. All this shit changes, and summer league don't even matter. Let him have a solid preseason. All this stuff changes, and let's see, man. Let's see. But that's it, man.
I can't wait, man. Hey, let's get up out of here, my boy. That's hilarious, though. That's a fact, though. That's a fact. If he balls out in summer league, bro, Mud's gonna be like, he's Scottie Pippen 2.0. Remember Chandler Hutchinson balled out? Remember Tony Snell looked y'all in the eye and he was just like, hey, I'm the captain now. Y'all remember that?
First of all, Tony Snell's eyes don't even open up that wide, bro. So that's definitely not what he did. Tony
Snell had one of the best summer league showings I've ever seen.
I know. Remember him and Denzel Valentine were Splash Brothers 2.0 in summer.
Oh, and Muggs just thought that we were gonna be the most dominant. We got a future with these two. Tony Snell has in multiple games, played 38 plus minutes and put up 0.0 rebounds, 0 steals, 0 assists, and 5 fouls. Multiple games, bro. So don't tell me about your draft night expectations on this mug, bro, because I know how draft night goes.
That's funny. That is hilarious.
Let's get up out of here, bro.
Let's get up out of here, man.
Hey, man, y'all can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Also follow us both on everything at Locked On Bulls on Twitter and on Instagram, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love.
And you can follow me at CEO Haize, the CEO Haize. I don't know why I said it that way. I'm tired as heck, bro. I've been putting in work today.
I'm not even getting ready to slow down. So,
bro, not either. There's still work to be done tonight. The Sky still, are they playing? Did they win the game yet? Oh, anyway. But thank you for tuning in for Locked On Bulls. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. We will be back next week. We'll be breaking down what happened. Summer League is right around the corner. Those Summer League games, as we said, are must watch. We'll be breaking those down. But thank you so much for tuning in, especially the live guys. Thank you for the live mailbag. Maybe something that we look to do more often during the off season. But that is it from us for today, guys. We love you, beautiful people. We'll see you next week. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago.
Or don't. I mean, whatever floats your boat.
Go to bed, dog.